Tubers, tubettes, crazy people. This is going to be a video where if you're a night person and you like to get out and party and you like to tip a few adult beverages, something that I almost never do and I don't think I ever talk about on this channel, I would encourage you to stay tuned because I met the guy that found out the place to go to do just that, to go out if you're a nighttime person where you can drink, you can party, you can have a good time. And it's not in Dumaguete, but it's very close to Dumaguete. So here comes my interview with Simon, who's going to tell you all about it. All right, so I'm here with Simon, and I got to warn you, he talks really funny. Where are you from?
I'm from the UK, mate, London.
Well, we'll let that one go. And what the hell are you doing in my town this week? Huh?
Well, yeah. I tell you, he's an intimidating bloke, he is, I tell you. I'm shaking like a leaf. I'm here on my month off, mate.
You what?
Well, I'm here on my month. I do a month in City Hall, a month in Dumaguete, so I'm here on my quiet month in Dumaguete. Sibyland to be exact.
Okay. So you're a Sicky Whore guy.
I am a Sicky Hall guy for half the year. Yeah.
I find that very, very interesting. And I learned a lot today talking to you because I've been to Sicky Whore 2, 3, 4 times. And I've always gone on like these day trips and just sort of seen the sights and then parked the bike and at 8 o'clock called it a day because I'm just, a lonely, silly, elderly man with no life left in me. But you're telling me that Sicky Whore, listen up, this is a party town.
Sicky Hall is a party town.
I had no clue.
It is a party town.
And why is that so? What's the dynamic there?
Well, if you've been to Sicky Hall in the last few years, you might not think so. Because I did an interview with an owner of a bar that I drink in called the Rum Bar. And they opened that 3 years ago. And when they opened that, there were only 3 bars on the island. And that's why they did it. Now there's 64.
There's 64 bars.
And that has happened in the last 3 years. And
No
they're building
kidding.
all the time. So if you were there a few years ago, you might think I'm talking nonsense when I say it's a party town. But trust me, it is now. And it's getting bigger and bigger every day. There's 2 bars now in the last month. They got 24-hour licenses.
No kidding.
So, yeah. So
and you like to tip a couple, and there's no harm in that. And you like, see, you're a night person, I'm assuming.
I am a nightlife guy. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm an early morning guy. So we would probably never bump into each other if we were next door neighbors at Sicky Whore.
No.
But that being said, I think it's interesting because I've always called this sleepy little Dumaguete.
And you're right.
We have one bar. Well, we got a couple of bars, but there's one, the Why Not, which is the disco.
Yeah.
That's, was built in 1964 and looks it.
And
then there's a couple of other places where guys go and tip it. But as far as nightlife here in Dumaguete, it's primarily for the locals down on the boulevard.
Yeah.
And they're doing Zumba exercises, eating balut, playing volleyball. It's for the young people, which is fine. The foreigners, like I say, they're pretty much stuck either at the Why Not or at what used to be called Bogart's, something sports bar now.
Yeah, it's a sports bar now.
And that's where they kind of go and tip a couple. Again, more power to you. If you want to go out and have some drinks, I'm not foreign to that idea. I did it a lot when I first got here, but it's just gone off my radar. And when I went to Sicky Whore, back when I was single, there was one bar / disco that it was, all I remember, it was like up a hill. And they had some live music and a DJ, and I went there with some friends, and it was all fun and good times. And
that might be the Belvedere.
Much more relaxed than here.
Yeah.
I mean, the people were a lot more chill, and there was a lot less attitude. And I remember that succinctly, that it was one of the best vacations that I ever had, because me not being a big drinker, that was like my one big night out. You know what I mean? And I'll do that once a year. I'll just say, okay, I'm going to tie one on for the hell of it. But you're telling me that there are, how many bars in Sicky Whore?
I think it's about 64 now.
Holy crap.
And that's just in San Juan. I mean, there's not much going in Sicky itself. The tourist area is San Juan, and it's bar. Just to take you back 1 second though, if you come to Dumaguete, there is more to it than Why Not. Go 2 kilometres up the boulevards, you've got the Tiki Bar, and you've got the North Point. That's where I go if I want some nightlife here. There's no other expats there. You should try it out. It's a good night.
Now, back in my day, the Tiki Bar was up and running, and then I haven't been back there since COVID hit, and since I met May and got married and settled down. So all that kind of went off my plate. You know.
No, I like
so
this is,
but a lot of locals go to Tiki Bar, and not that many foreigners back then. Has that changed?
Oh no, yeah, it's the same. I've been a couple of times. So I got back with a Canadian guy, and we're the only two expats there. There's no other. It's all Filipino.
It's all Filipino, and that's what you prefer.
Yeah.
So you're not a foreigner guy either.
No. I'm nothing against expats, but I think if you go to a country, you should mix with the locals.
I think that's a very healthy attitude. You lived in Thailand for what, 6-7 years?
Just over 7 years, yeah.
Okay, so we got 7 years of Thailand. What made you decide to give the Philippines a try? Was there something go wrong in Thailand, or did you just get bored of it? Or
I went back. I got stuck in the UK. I made the mistake of going home on holiday just before COVID hit, and they closed the borders, and I got stuck there, and I took a job and things, and it just got me thinking. I started watching the vlogs, you and Mark, and all saying how good Dumaguete was, and I started watching some on Colombia, and I thought, well, if I go back to Thailand, I could happily spend the rest of my days there. I could die there. I mean, I love the place, but why not try somewhere else? So it was a toss-up between Colombia. It was a toss-up between Dumaguete, the Philippines. I thought, I'll come to the Philippines. I'll give it 2 years. I'll have a month on 6 of the islands. Choose the one I like best, and I'll give it a year there.
Okay.
Got to Dumaguete. Thought this is a disaster.
Didn't like it.
Got to Sikihor within a day. This is the place for me.
Fell in love with it.
It's like, yeah, fell in love with it. Don't need to see any other islands.
You know, that is refreshing to hear, and I think that's really, really good information for the guys that I talk to, because I think it gets a little stale on my channel, the fact that I just talk about what I do, and unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but coincidentally, a lot of the guys that I interview or chat with, they're kind of the same mindset as me. You know, we just sort of talk about how we enjoy the same stuff. So I find it very, very refreshing to meet somebody. You're how old, 50-something?
52, yeah. 52.
Okay, so you're a younger guy. You have rental properties that are giving you income.
In the UK, yeah.
In the UK. So you're not collecting a pension or retirement or anything like me. You've got 15, 16 years youth on me. So staying out and doing a little more partying and nightlife is just much more adept for a guy your age and situation. So I think that's
it's not going to years off me though. It's not going to years off me.
Yeah, it'll do that. And what happens to your here's one thing you told me. How much does it cost you per month to live in Dumaguete?
Cost me about £1,000, which is about $12.50.
How much does it cost you to live?
I could live lower than that.
And how much do you spend in Sikihor?
I spent $3,000 last month. Yeah, it costs.
That's what I love.
It costs me that.
Because you know what? When we're thinking budgets, we're always yammering, and we're going down to the last stupid peso about the electric bill, and about the cable, and about the rent, and gasoline prices, and it gets a bit dry after time, because I lived on $1,500 a month forever, and that's just because I chose to usually pay a little bit more rent when I first got here than the average bear. And then I found that my budget was higher than everybody else's because I ate out more, and what I ate, I was much more selective about it, much more expensive. And so I know for a solid fact, I live on $2,000 a month now because of inflation. We were talking about it earlier. Price of food, price of cigarettes, price of a beer, price of everything has just shot up 20 to 30%. And we both agree that's probably worldwide, no matter where you go, Thailand, Philippines, wherever. But that's the fascinating thing to me, is that the nightlife and the partying, you went from $1,200 to $3,000. And if I had to guess, it's because your personality is kind of like mine. When I go out and I tip a couple, it's like, hey, this round's on me.
Yeah.
And you know that the Filipinos or the Filipinas that you're hanging out with, that you're in a little better financial position than them. So you feel very generous, and you like the people, and you don't want them to, you know, not have a good time or just have one beer and call it a day.
I've got a lot of Filipino friends, and you'll go out and then they'll say like, I'm going home now, and I get on the bike, and you'll say, why are you going back? And I say, well, I've got to. I say, get back in, I'll buy you a drink, don't worry about that, you know what I mean? And it goes. And the trouble is, this is the biggest mistake you can make in Sydney, is you try and economise. So I used to go in the bars, and I'd come in and I'd say, John D. Meeko, do you want a drink? And you buy them a few drinks. But then you realise, if you get the 1 litre, you know, the grandes, just order a grande, and then say, get yourself a glass, and you think you're saving money. Then you realise how much the rum and cokes cost. And you realise like $1.20 for rum and coke, but if you get the tower, it's the whole bottle, it's $600. So you think, I'm economising. But once you've got the tower, then the people are coming in, you have a few drinks, and you think, I'll get another tower. And then what started off as an economy, you know, you just don't want the party to end. And it's a tower, it's a tower, it's a tower.
The circle of friends tends to grow. And you're the sponsor of the night. I've sponsored many
but
and it's cool though, because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think it's some of the cheapest fun you can have. Even though you're talking about $3,000, you're going up $1,800 by going out and doing it. Compared to the UK or America or whatever, could you have as good a time?
You couldn't do it. And the trouble is, I'm my own worst enemy, because I've got a couple of expat friends over there. And like, when we're drinking in the bar, we'll split the towels. But like, come 1 o'clock, they'll go home. Everyone wants to go home. I'm like, I don't want to go home, so I'm calling people on the bikes and that. So it's my fault. It's not to be divorced me. I just want to go somewhere else to another party. There must be a party somewhere, and someone will say. So I mean, I am my own worst enemy. It's like, you know, so I know that.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah,
That's how we tend to be. And I think sometimes, every blue moon, there's the Filipinos or the Filipinas that do want to use you and abuse you just because you're a foreigner. But I think they're far outweighed by the nice guy, like you just mentioned. 100%. He said, I'm going home. And you said, why? He said, because I'm out of money. I'm done. That's it. And you called him back in. So, good on you.
After living in Thailand for 7 years, you learn how to spot who's taking the piss and who's not. I mean, you'll always make a mistake, but I think I'm quite a good judge of, and you distance yourself from those people. But I know, maybe I'm fooling myself, but I think I know I got some real friends over there.
Siquijor. They have much prettier beaches than we do. Now, are you a beach guy?
I try to be. I try to be. But when to give you an example, last week I was in Siquijor. The girls knocked on the door. There's two wonderful girls, Tintin and Monica. They knocked on my door at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They said, Simon, we want to show you something. I said, what are you going to show? And they pointed to the sun. Because I'm getting back at 6 o'clock in the morning, sleeping. I go out at 7 o'clock at night. They're always, good morning, Simon.
And you were like, what is that strange yellow orb in the sky?
What is that thing up there? I know the moon very well. But no, on the days I'm up and I'm vlogging, because you know I try and do that now, you've got some nice beaches there. You've got the Palawan Beach, I can't remember the name of the other one. The one disappointing thing about Siquijor is they're not very big beaches. So you got, the Palawan's nice, but it's only 800 metres. Then you've got another one's 50 metres, because they've got so many resorts, they're private beaches now, and you've got the rocks and that. So they've got some picturesque beaches, but they are very small. I think if you go to some other islands, they're like, you know, like in Thailand, they'll stretch 4 or 5 kilometres. You don't have any of that in Siquijor.
Okay.
It's small, but it's beautiful.
So I guess the obvious question is, and I've had a guy on a couple of times before, the same situation, Thailand versus Philippines. It's an ongoing conversation. It'll never end. If you had to pull the trigger and say, okay, I'm going to pick one spot, which one would it be? Do you think you would pick Thailand, or do you think you would pick the Philippines? I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, it's an impossible question, because one of the things I've never understood is you get a lot of Thai expats, and they just talk crap about the Philippines. And a lot of Filipinos talk crap about Thailand. And I don't get it. Thailand to me is the best place in the world. But for me right now, the Philippines is. You know what I mean?
Isn't that interesting?
At this moment in time, it is.
Yeah.
But 4 years ago, I'd have said it was Thailand, because that was right for me at the time. They are both fantastic in their own ways. I couldn't pick one.
Okay,
you know,
fair
if
answer.
I'm being honest.
Fair answer. If you put a gun to my head, I couldn't answer the question either. I mean, I love both.
They're very
different.
different.
I love them both for different reasons.
Exactly,
And I think that one advantage that we have over here is that we're so close, and the economies, or rather the budgets in both places are so similar.
They are,
that you could pull up stakes here, or I could, or whatever, and just pull the plug for a year and go there for a year.
Yeah.
And then reverse the engines, come back over here and do this all over again. I actually can see that happening. You made a good point that that's a lot easier to do as a single guy as opposed to me being married, because I've got to buy 2 plane tickets and 2 hamburgers and all that.
Oh, that wasn't the point I was making. It was the visas.
Yeah,
You'd have to have the money
visas,
for the 2 dependents.
visas, the whole enchilada.
Yeah, that costs you a lot.
Comes into a whole different game.
Yeah.
Where here it's a lot less expensive. She doesn't need a visa, obviously. I just today picked up my 13A, so I'm good for a year.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I'll put on the chalkboard for the Philippines. But I'm finding it really interesting. Do you see yourself kind of like going to Siquijor for 2 or 3 months and then coming here to regroup and recoup?
Well, at the moment, as I told you, I'm doing a month in Siquijor. I would love to stay longer, but I just can't. I mean, the last month I was there, this will sound terrible. I broke 2 ribs. I fell off the back of a bike. I had 4 stitches in my eye where I fell over in the bathroom. Although that was a power cut, the water was wet. I came in, there was none, and I slipped. I'm drinking too much. I always joke, if I stay more than a month, it will kill me. But that last month, I think it would have done another week. I mean, it's just like, it is. I will at some stage learn to control it, and then I will move there. But at the moment for me, a month in Siquijor, just enjoy it like an holiday. Come back here to Sibilan, just relax. You know, it works for me.
You know, it kind of reminds me of Vegas. These guys would come in for the weekend, and they'd be weekend warriors. You know, it was gentlemen's clubs and casinos, and just going drinking at the pool and going nuts. And then they go back to Wisconsin or wherever to their day job. You know? And so it's kind of like Dumaguete is sort of like your little part of Mayberry. You know?
Yeah.
And you can't really get in trouble.
It's a good analogy. You're right.
They lock the sidewalks up pretty early, and there's just not that much as far as the female companionship and all that's much more limited, I imagine, here than over there. I don't know. And I won't put you on the spot and ask you about that. But I just want to drive home the point that how out of touch I am. Because Siquijor is just 30 minutes away.
Yeah, 45 minutes on the fast track, 2 hours on the roller. Yeah.
Okay, so 45 minutes, 2 hours if you're taking a car or a bike, right? And so if you were not going out and partying on Siquijor, what do you think a budget would be? What do you honestly think that for rent, if you got an apartment, I don't really know. Apartment's comparable to here, or do you not know? It's fair enough. You haven't been here that long.
No, you can do it. You can do it. I mean, I got 3 expat friends that I hang around with over there. One of them is an Australian guy. He's 72. He's living on 1,500 pesos a day. You know, he goes out, has a couple of beers in the evening. He's in bed by 9 o'clock. I've got an English mate who I'm probably my best friend over there. He has completely different priorities to me. He goes out, he has a 3-course meal in the afternoon, has a few beers in the evening. I'm the opposite. I have a pot noodle and then I buy a couple of tags. You know, we have different things. He's stuck to the 1,500 pesos a day budget. So like 1,000. It's easily doable over there, as long as you're not weak-willed like I am. You know, if you can moderate it and you can stay in 3 nights a week, it's not too dissimilar to here. Things are a little bit more expensive in the shops because they have to be imported.
It's more of a touristy place too.
Yeah, and that's the other reason with a month. You know, they don't have places here. You eat in a restaurant every night. You eat in a hotel every night. It gets a bit boring after a month. Mm-hmm. You know, there are problems in Siquijor in the terms there's no 7-Elevens, there's no chains, there's no shopping malls and that. So if that's your bag, I don't care for shopping malls myself. But you know, Dumaguete is a place for you. There are drawbacks to living on a little island.
Yeah, that was my next topic was going to be that if a guy goes...
Sorry to jump the old...
No, it's all good. Is what I noticed over there was things that are really important to me, and I think a lot of it's just got to do with my age and my personality, is hospitals.
Yeah.
Their care over there is very, very basic. You would have to come over to Dumaguete if something serious happened, unless...
I have 2 good friends who are nurses. They're both guys, and I won't say their names, don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
But they said to me, like in the first month, if you have an accident, make sure you don't come to our hospital, make sure you go to a good one. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, if I've had a bike accident, I'm knocked out, how the hell do I know how do I decide what hospital I'm going to? But apparently they're okay for minor accidents.
Right.
But if you smash your head or something like that, they've got to get you to Dumaguete.
But
they
if you break your arm or something, or
they can do that. But
they've
anything serious, they've got to get you.
Yeah.
They've got to get you out.
Got it.
There, yeah.
Copy. And what about supermarkets? Is there a place over there to go to where you can just stock up like a hypermart or something like that?
There is one, what they would call a hypermarket. I've been there once, but I don't remember it. She took me on a bike. I think, it's in Sikihor. It's in the Sikihor port. They've got one there, but there is nothing else there. There's no bars in Sikihor. There's nothing there, but you have to go there for that. They've got a Jollibee there, one in Sikihor, but that's like 15 kilometres from San Juan. It's the only franchise on the whole island, so yeah, I like drinking Diet Coke. One of the things I love about it is I can get Diet Coke here. You can't get a 2 litre bottle of Diet Coke in all of Sikihor, you know what I mean? It's like, so you've got to give up stuff like that.
So my thinking, just thinking out loud, is if I was to live in Sikihor, it would sound to me, and I wanted to have my same lifestyle. Let's take the hospitals out of the equation. Sounds like I would need to make a run every couple of weeks over here to Dumaguete and stock up on the food and all that kind of stuff that with my lifestyle.
That is what a lot of people do. I mean, I know a few people over there, they do that and they enjoy doing it. They'll come here, they'll book a hotel for the night,
right.
They have a weekend in Dumaguete and they go back again.
Yep.
A lot of them seem to want to do that.
Because there is a little bit of island fever over there too, it's so small. And so you get off the island, you come here, it's a little more cosmopolitan. You can buy an overpriced coffee. you can go to a mall. You can see a movie.
Yeah, 100%.
You can go check up at the doctor, and like I said, just load up. If you got a car or whatever, that you can just haul back 2 weeks worth of groceries, put them in the freezer, and set yourself up so that you can cook at home and save money that way. So that's available.
You're 100% right about the old island fever, because when I got here, I've not been to the cinema in about 8 years.
Yeah.
And the first time I went to the Robinson's Mall, I saw they had a cinema there, and I saw they got one in City Mall. And I'm thinking, it's been years, no interest in going whatsoever.
No.
But I knew they were there. 2 weeks in City, I thought, I want to go to the cinema. And it's only because there's one there. Yeah. And when I came back here and could, I never went. You know what I mean? But it's like, when you can't have it, you want it.
I hear you. I hear you. And the other thing that I was going to ask you is, now I forgot what the hell it was. You have a YouTube channel.
I do have a YouTube channel.
Another YouTube whore here on the channel.
That's me.
Shamelessly promoted himself. So go ahead and tell everybody about your goofy channel.
I have a YouTube channel. It's very new. I'm very raw. I honestly I don't know what I'm doing. But if you give me a chance,
welcome to the team.
I will get better. Touch wood.
All right, so what's the name of your channel? I'll put a link to it.
Speaking of Asia.
Speaking of Asia. Okay. Yeah. And so, what do you do on your channel? You talk about Thailand, you talk about the Philippines, you talk about your life.
I talk about Asia, I talk a little bit about Thailand, I do a few interviews. Okay. Paul was lucky enough, generous enough to give me an interview. I was lucky enough to get to speak to the legend that is Paul. A bit of everything, mate. I talk about Thailand, talk about my experience in the Philippines, just Asia full stop,
And you started doing vlogging. I don't think you did it for any monetary kind of type of deal. It was something to do, right? Something to fill the day.
Something to do. Fills the day.
Fill the void.
Yeah, fills the day.
I think it's a very healthy thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you can do it if you're at all creative, or you need an outlet, or you just need something to
You do need something to focus on.
There's 3 hours during that day that it's like, instead of drinking the beer early, you can make a vlog, or it's something to sort of temper the day. And I found that it's very healthy, and it's a cool way to make friends.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll put a link to Simon's little vlog in there.
Much appreciated.
And see what happens. So anything else you want to tell the folks? I'm really interested in the fact that there's how many bars in Sikihor? I can't get this out of my head. 64 or something.
Well, remember when I say this, 94% of statistics are made up on the spot. I believe it's around the 64 mark. To be honest with you, someone told me that. I think it might be more than that. I mean, it might be slightly less, but I live in a part of San Juan called Matey. which is the barangay where I live, and I think it's 6 kilometres to Palaton Beach. And when you drive that on your bike, it's bar, restaurant, bar, restaurant, bar, restaurant all the way. And they've even started building past Palaton now, so yeah.
Is it primarily locals that go? Or do you see a lot of expats?
No, it's mainly tourists. It's mainly backpackers. It is a backpacking destination.
So it's a real young crowd, I got to figure, like the 20, 30 something.
Yeah.
So a lot of those guys are in there. Now what about the Filipinos? Are there a lot of Filipino guys and gals in there? Is it mostly expats, or what's the dynamic in these?
Well, they've got,
places?
I mean, most of the bars will be mainly backpackers and the odd expat.
Okay.
You'll get some Filipinos that live in San Juan that might go there in a bar if they've got the money to. But most of the people in San Juan, they work in the bars. So I mean, they work in the hotels and that. But on a Friday and a Saturday and a Sunday night, they have a beach party at a place called JJ Backpackers. And all the Filipinos from the whole island go to that. I mean, it's literally because that's it. Because if you go to Siquijor, which is like the main town there, there's no clubs. You go to Latsi, there's no clubs. You go to Samaria, there are no clubs. So they all descend on Siquijor on the weekend to go to JJ's, and there's another on a Wednesday night, a place called
that
Chills.
would be the most diverse crowd. The Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you said?
Yeah, you'll get maybe, I don't know, 500-600 people there, and at least 400 of them will be Filipinos. The rest will be backpackers.
That's got to be the best deal.
That's the best night, Friday and Saturday. Yeah. Love it down there. Love it down there.
Well, now you guys know everything you need to know about nightlife, Siquijor, and that Dumaguete is where you come to rehab. We'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, Simon. Thanks for being on the channel.
It's a pleasure, mate. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
All right, man. We'll see you crazy people in the next video.